So, I just got back from Denver, Colorado, where police had arrested several members of the PSL, Party of Socialism and Liberation, and several members of the Black Lives Matter community for protesting. And they released all but one, but they are filing charges on felonies, 20 years or more on some of these protesters for simply protesting. They're also charging them with kidnapping. That story didn't get a lot of coverage, so we went out there to cover it. But the reason I'm starting out with that right now, because I wanted to do a quick live stream of the comments made by Bill Maher.
The Supreme Court hears oral arguments to overturn Obamacare on November 10th. Once this new justice is seated, Obamacare is likely gone. And after that, Roe versus Wade. So I hope you enjoy carrying your rape baby to term. You can name it Jill Stein.
Bill Maher is a representation of the political pundit establishment elite. He's a representation of the Democratic Party. A lot of people considered him a progressive not too long ago. But since 2016, he has been publicly shaming third-party voters, as has the whole Democratic establishment. And my point that I really want to make clear in this quick live stream is the fact that the Democratic Party doesn't want to win. Like, they really don't. And you can tell because they're putting people like Bill Maher out there who pretty much, he's literally just regurgitating what I hear constantly thrown at me. You are a Russian asset. This is why I'm mocking it. You are helping Trump. You are blah, blah, blah. The reason I'm so vocal about this is because I experienced it 4 years ago in 2016. And all it did was literally help Donald Trump. So the people who are telling you that you're helping Donald Trump if you're not voting for Biden are the people who are actually helping Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is a result of years of not listening to the will of the people, right? And so I am somebody that's been covering these protests around the country, and I've been seeing what these people are facing, these protesters and journalists that are being attacked. And this is happening in Democratic states, Democratic supermajorities, like states like Colorado, states like Oregon, states like Washington, and of course, California, where I'm at right now. And what the situation that happened here on Friday that many of you might not know about. Some of the people here on Facebook that are making phone calls for Biden and are talking about how they're doing so well because they're making sure that they're following in Bernie's footsteps by supporting Joe Biden are literally the ones that need to get off their ass and go out to the streets and see what I'm seeing in these protests, and then tell me if voting for Joe Biden is going to change that. Because we have a Democratic Mayor Garcetti. We have we elected a Democratic sheriff, LA sheriff. We live in a Democratic supermajority, like I said, with Senator Harris and Feinstein, and we have Nancy Pelosi, and we have all of these wonderful progressive people. Yet you somehow think that putting Joe Biden in the federal office is going to help with this situation. You don't know because you're not out there. And I'm telling you, I'm out there. And the reason I'm saying this is all related, because it is, because I'm out there. And none of these people that are phone banking for Biden or shaming me on Facebook or saying that I'm being a crazy radical by not voting for Biden, and that I need to start telling all my followers to vote for Biden because I'm influencing the election and somehow Donald Trump is going to win because of me. Why don't you get your ass out there and understand that direct action right now is where we have power? Because what I've seen is when people show up in mass, the sheriffs and the police don't go after these protesters. When the journalists show up there, they get so angry that they go after the journalists. Friday night, journalist Tina-Desiree Berg, who has her podcast, District 34, was filming as a sheriff, and multiple sheriffs were actually gaining on one protester. His name is Activist Andy, is his name. And we had just interviewed him about his experience with the police. And as literally the sheriff is using a shield, a police shield, to bash this kid for nothing other than protesting, Tina goes and films that. As soon as she starts filming the police doing this, what do? They shoot her with some pepper gas or rubber bullets or whatever war weapons they're using this time. I'm telling you this because this is happening right now in LA. This is happening right now in California. And I don't know why all the people who are on Facebook publicly shaming third-party voters like myself aren't really out there doing the filming or protesting or doing whatever it is to hold the state accountable. Because if you think that you're doing enough by putting your name in a ballot box that like literally might not count, because I have covered also the elections, the last few elections, and I know the elections aren't fair, and it's Republicans cheat. We all know they cheat, but so do Democrats. And Democrats all of a sudden want to pretend that they care about elections when they were going after Bernie Sanders. They didn't give a damn about how unfair the elections were. So it is with the Democratic Party that I have a problem with, because I believe the Democratic Party is a hologram of the Republican Party. So while you're so busy trying to fight the Republican Party, you're never going to have the tools, because the Democratic Party always keeps them from you. The Democratic Party is controlled opposition. It is not a real opposition. It is fake. It is simply a same holographic image of the Republican Party. And while they waste our time fighting them, we are fighting the Democratic Party. We can't fight fascism because it encompasses the same rot of the oligarchy. In order to fight fascism, we have to understand that fascism extends on both sides of the aisle, because there's not two aisles, there's one aisle. So the people out there shaming people and telling me, oh, I care about my indigenous and my black brothers and sisters, as if I'm not a woman and I'm not Latin. Okay, I care about my indigenous brothers and sisters. You don't care. You have white privilege. They're telling my co-host Pasta that he has white privilege. They're saying all this crap, but they're not out there. Pasta's out there. Johnny's out there. I'm out there. Where the hell are you? If you want to sit there and try to tell me that voting for Joe Biden is going to make people of color safer, okay, then show it to me by standing out there and saying, you know what, Joe, are you going to defund the police? Because he already said he's not. He's literally saying the rioters and looters too. The same exact things that Donald Trump is saying. My whole point is electoralism isn't going to save you. What's going to save you is direct actions. It's a mass people's movement. That's what this country needs. This country doesn't need any more politicians or any more saviors that in 4 years are going to be finding themselves in the same situation that Bernie Sanders found himself in, because the system is so corrupt. The system is corrupt, and it's not going to change until you demand it. Do you think these people are just going to give you power? Do you think they're just going to be like, yeah, okay, fine, you can have all this power, just because you ask them? No, you're going to have to take back that power. This is what the Black Panthers movement was talking about a long time ago. And this is why they got murdered, because that is a direct threat when we start seeing coalitions. So in Denver, Colorado, there's coalitions forming between the PSL people, the Black Lives Matter people, the immigration rights people. That's what we need to do here. But the problem with LA is that people are too busy vote shaming other people in one of the bluest states in the nation, where you don't have to vote for, even if you care, if you want Biden to win, you don't have to vote for freaking Joe Biden. You can vote third party and be fine, because this is the bluest state. This is how our electoral system works. And people are so focused on electoral politics, and they don't understand that's not how you get change. You're not going to get change through electoral politics. You have to go after the core issue, and that is the system. And in order for us to go after the system, we need to realize that the Democrats aren't your friends. The Republicans aren't your friends. But the Republicans, we can see clearly, they tell us, oh, hey, we don't like immigrants. Yeah, we love police. We're not going to support Black Lives Matter. They tell you. The Democrats, on the other hand, pretend that they're supporting Black Lives Matter, or put their little fucking slogan on their window or on their corporate banner, but then turn around and say, well, if rioting and looting is wrong, we can't defund the police, blah, blah, blah. Or they don't do anything. What has Mayor Garcetti done? He hasn't done shit. This is why you're not going to convince me that Joe Biden is going to change anything, because change comes from the ground up. Change doesn't come from the top down. So to all those people claiming that they're doing so much good, I urge you, go to a protest. See how the police state is treating protesters, how the police state is treating journalists. This is illegal. It is illegal what they're doing. And you're all too busy focused on Biden versus Trump, the circus theatrics that they're playing for you, than on what's actually going on. You should be out there protesting with these people. If not protesting, covering it. If not covering it, talking about it. I don't care. Donate money to these people. Understand that if you're not outraged at what's happening in our democracy, in our oligarchy, because we don't have a democracy, we're the United States of corporate America. Why do you think suddenly it's gonna be okay that you vote Biden, because you think fascism is just gonna go away like that with Biden, with Kamala Top Cop Harris? Do you think fascism is just gonna disappear? No, it's not, because people need to be out there. When there are more people out there, more journalists, more coverage on these incidents, they don't get away with it. What these police and the sheriff are doing is entirely illegal. And yet I have to sit there and listen to Bill Maher talk about how it's my fault and how we're going to overturn Roe v. Wade. They're using all this fear mongering to get you to vote for Biden, as if that's going to do anything. And they refuse to talk about what's happening out in the streets. They refuse to talk about Julian Assange and the persecution of Julian Assange. They haven't even said his fucking goddamn name, because they profit off of the establishment. They profit off of this duopoly. And so when people think, it irritates me, it makes me so angry when people sit there and think that their vote is going to count and that's enough and that'll solve all of our problems. Get out in the streets. That is where your power is right now. Electoral politics will not save you, America. You need to understand that you have lost that sense of protesting for not just social issues, but economic issues, things that we need, healthcare, all of these things. People should be out there right now. What has our government done to help us? They've done absolutely nothing. And instead of playing their political games, we need to understand that that's how we make change. And the Democratic Party has done absolutely nothing for you. And all they've done is gaslight and blame third-party voters. And as they have done that, they have absolutely not even addressed the issue of police brutality. They haven't addressed the issue of lack of freedom of the press, lack of freedom of speech. They haven't addressed the healthcare crisis during a fucking pandemic. They haven't addressed the looting and the rioting by corporations on the working class. They haven't addressed any of it. Instead, Gavin Newsom is just giving fracking permits left and right. But I'm supposed to thank him because he's a Democrat? No. No, I'm so done with this. And if you are going to continue vote shaming me and telling me that it is my fault that Trump's going to win, I'm going to revert you back to 2016 and you can go see what happened and how that turned out. And even if every single Jill Stein voter and every single Gary Johnson voter voted for Hillary Clinton, which, by the way, Gary Johnson votes would have gone to Trump anyway, you dumbasses. In fact, he helped you because those freaking libertarian votes he got would have gone to Trump. So obviously we're not understanding basic, simple logic and math here, but okay, fine. Even if all these people voted for Hillary, Trump still would have won because the problem is the system. The whole entire election system needs to be redone. And the problem is nobody's addressing why Hillary lost. Hillary lost because Democrats have shunned the poor and working class people all over this country, and you're pushing them towards fascism. This is why if the Democratic Party doesn't go away, if it doesn't destroy or self-implode, what's going to happen is you're going to get people moving towards fascism. And that is extremely dangerous. And you know what? The Democratic Party is enabling that. It's enabling that. And so I just have to let you guys know that I'm not going to vote for a party that has continuously rigged elections for decades. And the Democratic Party has done just that. They have rigged multiple elections for decades. And I am sick and tired of watching people vote shame people like Jill Stein, who didn't even run this freaking year. Are you kidding me? She's not even relevant right now. They framed her as a Russian asset, as Putin's asset. And this whole time, progressives held on to this idea that the Democratic Party was going to change and somehow adopt their platform. And I was screaming off the top of my lungs, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. And I was hoping I was wrong. And guess what? I wasn't wrong, unfortunately, because that is how they are. There's no reform. They're not a real party. They're not a real opposition. They're there to make sure you vote for them or for the right. So then that way you don't look outside and see that there's a bunch of people who are pissed off and don't believe in the system anymore. And if they all realize who the real culprits were, which is both the entire oligarchy, then they're in trouble. So please continue blaming me and blaming other people that refuse to fall in line with this charade anymore, instead of actually enacting policy positions that would help get people out for Joe Biden. Oh, Joe Biden's adopting healthcare for all. Oh, he's adopting a climate plan that isn't 100 years from now, that it's actually going to do something. Oh, he's going to defund the police, or he's going to address criminal justice issues. Okay, maybe that would make me say, you know what? Yes, I will vote for Joe Biden. But he hasn't done that. They're not going to do that because they know that you already told them you're going to vote for them because you hate Trump so much. And Trump is easy to hate because he shows how ugly everything is. And at the very least, that has been useful for a movement to rise against it, because of fascism didn't start with Trump. The fascism has been years in the making, and Trump just makes it, puts it out there on full display. So I'm not going to be shamed anymore. I'm going to continue talking about this. I'm going to continue being, a tool of Russia and Trump by simply stating the truth. And I'm going to continue doing this as much as I can because I know my voice and the voice of other journalists and other people who are actually speaking truth, because we're not getting funded by the right wing or the Democratic establishment, who might as well be right wing because they're funded by the same corporations. Because we're not getting funded from that, we are going to be attacked. See, the people who tell you the truth, they're the ones that are getting attacked. You're not going to be attacked if you're not telling the truth. You're going to be praised and cheered and all of this. But the people telling the truth are the ones that are going to be maligned. And this has been happening for a while now, so it's no surprise. So please, if you are in Los Angeles, go to a protest. There have been many in response to solidarity with Breonna Taylor for the charges that weren't put on her assailants. There's been a lot of gaslighting, a lot of lies about what her boyfriend did, what she did. There's also protesters being charged felonies for up to 20 years in prison because of simply protesting. Elijah McClain in Denver, Colorado. There are countless things happening in your backyard right now that you could be helping with. That is enacting true change. That is really where the change is happening right now in our streets. You can't ignore it and pretend it's not happening. Now, you can try, but pretty much it's going to catch up to you eventually. And so if you think Joe Biden is going to fix everything, especially in these democratically controlled states, please go out to a protest and see how these police and these sheriffs who are supported by Democratic politicians, please go out there and see what they're doing, and then tell me that voting for Joe Biden is going to stop that, or it's going to make it easier, because it's not. It's just going to gaslight people into thinking that everything's good and they're going to go back to brunch, which is what people want to do. They want to go back to sleep. We cannot let the big sleep come again. We cannot let another Obama moment come again. We cannot let this movement pass us by, because if it passes us by, we're screwed. We have to seize this moment, seize this opportunity, and Americans need to learn that taking to the streets is as American and patriotic and revolutionary as it gets. It is the foundation that this country was set on, and we need to rectify the other part of the foundation that this country was set on, which is raping, killing, and imperialism. And nobody talks about that. So look out tomorrow for the Convo Couch. We're going to be talking about everything that's been going on. And we're going to be talking about the vote shaming and all of this. And also, of course, the foreign policy things that are happening. The very, very close nuclear war dangers that we have right now because of the imperialism of this country. Those are the things that affect us. And like I said, I always mention Assange, because what they're doing to Assange is what the parent of the police state, which is the intelligence communities and the CIA and the military industrial complex, what they're doing to Julian Assange is what's happening here to protesters and journalists. I have seen it. My friends have seen it. Protesters have experienced it. We have documented it. If that happens to him, if he gets extradited for telling you the truth about our government, then we're all screwed. They're going to come after every single one of us. They're already doing it. So don't forget to really understand the tangible things that can happen are happening right now, live, outside of your neighborhood, outside of these houses, in these cities, in democratically controlled states. That's where a lot of these things are happening. So understand this whole system is set up to get us to fight each other. It's set up for us to attack each other instead of us attacking the main source, which are the oligarchs. And it's time these people are held accountable now. No matter who's president, no matter what happens, it's time for some accountability for the American people.